I think everybody's here, so as much as it only says 6:26 here, I think I'm going to start the meeting. If anybody finds a problem, there's a fashion show on in the Lancastrian, and the boom, boom, boom music you can hear is from the fashion show. So if you find it a problem, we can have a word with Civics, but I think we can cope with it as it is. There we are, the town hall clock's going. Good evening, everybody. Thank you to everyone for attending the meeting of the Chorley Liaison on Wednesday, the 18th of October 2023. My name is Councillor Gordon France and I'm the chair of this committee. Please note this meeting is being live streamed on YouTube. Yeah, we're okay, YouTube, yeah?
Yeah, we're okay.
Yeah, right, sorry, looking the wrong way. Due to regulations surrounding voting, only those members physically present are able to vote. When you're speaking, please speak towards the microphone so that everyone can hear. Please do not obstruct your mouth to ensure that anyone lip reading can do so. If anyone is having issues, please let Democratic Services know. Some housekeeping. We're not expecting a fire drill, so if the alarms sound, please exit the way you came in. It's for real. Please ensure that any mobile phones are switched to silent. If technology fails, I will adjourn the meeting to try and resolve the issue. If not, we'll have to reconvene at another day. Apologies, please, Ruth.
Thanks, Chair.
Thank you. Minutes of the meeting on Wednesday the 19th of July 2023. Are there any issues to be raised on the accuracy of those minutes? Yes, Councillor Barry. Sorry, mate.
It's just paragraph 6. It makes reference to attendance by the cabinet member. I think it's attendance by a highways officer at the town centre forum that we have aspirations for this the last few meetings, rather than being the cabinet member attending.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Julia. Other than that, everybody happy? Yes, Councillor Black, are you okay? Proposing them. Right, thank you. Seconded, Aaron? Yeah, fine. Right, now to item 3, which is an item from Chorley Council, which is carbon literacy training and air quality monitoring survey. And this is going to be presented by Matt. Over to you, Matt.
Thank you, Chair. So I'm Matt Evans, the Air Quality and Climate Change Officer for Chorley Council. So I think I've met some of you before, not others. But if there's any questions on my items, I'm happy to take emails afterwards for a more in-depth answer. And I realise it's not until you see it printed out how big the documents are I sent, but you can rest assured I'm not intending to read them out. I'm just going to give you a brief overview of the Carbon Literacy Project. So the Carbon Literacy Project run a scheme of carbon literacy training, and they've just released a set of workshops specifically aimed for parish, town and community councils. It's a training package that gives science-based background to climate change, what's happening, and what can be done locally as part of that. The workshops include examples of projects happening in other similar areas to reflect on, some of which you may already be doing. So for parish and town councils, these include things like community repair groups or community planting days, those kind of things. The aim is to give everyone, so parish councillors and clerks, a baseline knowledge of the science and how that can link with health, green spaces, financial savings, and things like that. We are running a similar course at Chorley, but this is one tailored for district councils. So for the borough councillors and Chorley officers, this new workshop is for parish councils to take and lead themselves. An outline of slides will be provided by the Carbon Literacy Project, but then you can adapt them as you see fit to all of your areas. It's currently free for parish councils if you do all the work in-house and train each other. There's a small charge, I think, for certificates if you want to do the training and you want a certificate. I think it's about £10 or £20 per certificate. And as I say, I've included more of the details and a more in-depth overview in the agenda pack. So if it is something you are interested in for your areas, I would recommend contacting the Carbon Literacy Project direct, if that's something you'd be interested in. So I'll just skip on to the next item, which is just a quick plug really for air quality. We're trying to involve our communities more in our air quality monitoring programme because we know there are concerns locally in some areas which have been expressed online or directly to councillors or to the council. So we currently measure our air quality at 42 locations across the borough for nitrogen oxides or NOx, and a further 3 locations for particulate matter. These have previously been decided based on traffic data, local knowledge, or if we receive an ad hoc request from a resident or a member. So for next year, we're trying to broaden it out a bit and be a bit more responsive to residents and councillors. We have some, getting louder, official citing criteria which we need to comply with. So not all suggestions can be guaranteed as a monitoring location. But if it is something you'd be interested in and want to take part, there's a survey available on the Chorley citizen space, open until the 15th of November for new suggestions, and then we just need a brief explanation about why. So it could be queuing traffic or increases in wood burning in that particular area, things like that. And then we'll review them for next year. So that's all I have, a nice quick one. If there's any comments or questions, I'm happy.
Thank you, Chair. Is there an app that you can see real time what the air quality is? Do we publish it?
We publish our air quality data annually. We need to submit a report to Centre DEFRA, and that goes on our website. We're soon, hopefully, going to have a real-time monitoring system to go live. There's still a few things to sort out with that, with the supplier, but that is in train. But we don't have an app, but on the BBC Weather app and weather type apps, you can normally get air quality assessments. Yeah.
Are you aware there's a resident that's about a mile and a half away from you that has, and it's a different system, live feeds, and I can tell you at the moment that Chorley is green. They set it up around Chorley, and it's running. He's a member of the Green Party, and I'm not holding that against him. I don't know if we should be saying his name, but I won't for the second just in case, but any people might get upset, I can give it later. I've been trying to get him to join the Labour Party and do all this green stuff. Is this working? We've got this goal.
It's not playing.
I think he's going to... Right, okay, yeah. What I'm getting round to is that this stuff is already in Chorley, and there is an app. Now, I know the 2 different systems, and if it can be shown live on an app and that we're green and it shows when I get alerts, I don't understand why someone as big as us can't do it.
Just one comment I'd like to make. I was myself and we're talking to Mark Clifford earlier, who's the Green Champion. Now, he said the only figures we can officially take is the DEFRA ones. Is that correct?
Yeah, we can only officially report against the DEFRA figures. And the reason there's a delay normally for our results is before we can release them, they have to be checked against the DEFRA calibration, which is not normally published until the February, March, following the year end. I am aware of the resident, and we have a contact. We have spoken, so I am aware of his system, but it is a slightly different system. I don't know where he's got them located. There are guidelines about where these things can go to give a true reading.
Sure, he was happy, sure, with the location, that's all. Just one other thing. All right. So we take our machines take our readings, we write them down, we send them off to DEFRA, they check them against their system, and it's all your number. I don't understand how they can calibrate that machine on that lamppost with the number that we've got, and then we publish it 12 months later.
Sorry. Okay, so we've got different types of monitoring. So there's NOx tubes, which are what you're talking about, that they need to be properly calibrated. They're collected in monthly, they're sent away to a lab, we assess them through the lab, and then they give us like a correction factor once a year, and we submit the data through to DEFRA. We've also got 3 live real-time monitors, which would monitor for NOx and particulates. And that's what we're talking about, trying to get them up live. Obviously, we need to calibrate them. We need to make sure they're quite expensive pieces of equipment. So we can eventually, hopefully, working through the company, get some live data from those 3 real-time monitors. And that's what the hope, we're working with the company at the moment to get them up on our website so people can go and look at those 3 particular monitors and look at them live. Yeah.
Right, Julia. Sorry, over to you.
Yeah, I'd just like to be made aware of where monitors are, the map of them. I'm sure that might be readily available, but particularly want to know how we can get involved with air monitoring in our parishes, and whether it's some expense, some budget we need to be setting aside, some funding we need to set aside, or we can get any help with that. But I'm particularly concerned about areas like South West Ward and Coppell, which are my county division, mainly because it was with the existing, previously we've had, coal for life. I don't think people are actually still burning the kind of coal that they used to back in the 70s or whatever, but it's just, I'd very much like to be more proactive in our parish, and I'm sure that'd be the same for all the other parishes, but what costs are attached? Can we do it jointly with Chorley, or do we need to? It's about what equipment there is, and obviously we're aware of press coverage about Chorley and Lancashire areas that have been monitored, and that's based on different monitoring process. I think that's around WHO, the World Health Organization, which we used to do when we were in Europe, but now we rely on the DEFRA figures, don't we? So, but it's just about making it more accessible for us to understand what we can practically do in our own areas, because it's a hidden thing. I'm particularly concerned about exposure to air pollution around primary schools, those that are on main roads, and what we can do about that. Is something like planting a green wall around a school going to help? What's going to help mitigate the problems of emissions in the future? So again, the training's superb. Yeah, we'll hopefully take it on board and get that rolled out where we can. But again, the town centre, hopefully you're going to get the town centre buy-in from town centre councillors to come to a local training session, because obviously the parishes will set up their own event.
Yeah, so that's what the whole survey is about, for people to come forward and say, we've got concerns in our area, particular area, by schools or by residential properties right next to roads, and then we'll look at the monitoring programme. So, as I said, there's 2 types of monitoring. the sort of NOx tubes, monitoring tubes, they're not hugely expensive. Obviously, we've got to collect them, which is the expensive, and submit them to the lab. I think where we're getting more expensive, and obviously we'd have to have those conversations, is when we look at the real-time monitoring, they can be quite expensive. So we're looking more towards 10,000 for real-time monitoring for each station. But those are the conversations that we can have once we get the survey results back in, of what the proposals are and where we can work together on that.
Can I just come back in? Because what I'd also like to is make some link with health. You know, people might be not aware that, you know, very young babies particularly, you know, you sort of expect that they're going to have problems with chest complaints like bronchiolitis. Well, it doesn't have to be, you know, sometimes it is actually in the conditions they're living in their own house or in their own communities. And it's about also people with emerging with long-term health conditions related to their lungs. You know, what can we do to sort of improve the air quality? You know, it's a relationship between poor air quality and the impact on people's health. I'm sure it's there, but we need to be making some improvements, because actually in some areas it's not got better in, say, 10 years. And the limitation of the measuring is, you know, it's an average. Well, we're not interested in the average, we're actually interested in the spikes, or the occasions when people are exposed to higher air pollution levels. We've got to get to grips with that as well. We won't know that unless we get trained up and applying ourselves to it.
Yeah. There's quite obviously quite a lot of links between air quality and poor health. That's been proven time and time again with various cases that we've come across, and obviously cases in the media. There is lots that can be done on air quality. There's lots of education that can be done and training for people. You know, we can see quite clear spikes, especially on bonfire night. It's the biggest spike I think we've had. And wood burning is one of the big concern areas. So there is a lot of work we can do, a lot of training that we can do, and as I say, we can look at this consultation about monitoring and further monitoring.
Yeah, just you mentioned that Chorley Council is setting up training sessions for borough councillors and officers. Why is that training not being offered to the parishes? Why is it that the parishes are being told to sort it out yourselves, basically?
It's a different training. So the training for Chorley is specifically for district councils. There will be some overlap, obviously, with parish councils, but for Chorley to deliver that training, it would be considered external training. So there would be quite a big licence fee for that, I think. Whereas with these kind of things, it's better if it can come from in-house knowledge, so you can adapt it for your area, you know what the problems are or what the issues may be. But there is lots of support from the Carbon Literacy Project, and for kind of unofficial support, Chorley officers can advise. But we wouldn't be able to deliver the training without the licence.
I'm right in saying, though, that if parish councillors have any questions, Matt's contact details are there, and you can ask the questions, and you know, that's what the contact details are there for. So there is a way of, if you've got concerns or there's some information you needed, you can get it in that way. So there is a way, whilst there's not training in, there is a way, if you've got concerns or there's something you would like to know about, you can ask that question to Matt, and that's probably the way around it. Anything else before I close on this issue and thank Matt? Thank you very much for that presentation, Matt. Thank you. Moving on, we've got an item requested by Exton Parish Council regarding tree preservation orders. Have we anybody here from Exton? No. There is a response on agenda page 37. I mean, if members are just happy to look at that, it is all there in detail. I don't intend to read it out unless anybody wants me to. Thank you for that. Questions for members of the liaison and the public? Has anybody got any questions? Yes, Aaron.
The question was in my head, it just wasn't coming to my mouth. Why haven't trees with a preservation order been cut down? But on the other side, it says further down that a tree that's replaced one with a preservation order isn't preserved. So not only have we lost a tree that shouldn't have been cut down, we've now replaced it with something that can be cut down tomorrow. So we haven't achieved anything.
Usually that's a planning matter. Yeah. Sorry. Thank you, Alan. You're going to answer that one.
Well, presumably, Chair, some of the trees which have got TPOs on them will be diseased and dying. So you can't leave them up, can you?
As far as I'm aware, Aaron, and you're a member of the planning committee as well, as far as I'm aware, you have to apply for permission to cut down a tree with TPO. Now, that's usually, as Alan says, that's usually because they're diseased or they're dangerous. I mean, we've had one or two cut down in my ward, but they were dead and dangerous, to be honest. So, as far as I'm aware, you've got to get planning permission.
You do? Yeah, you have. Yeah, you have to have permission, but yeah, you're right.
Yes,
The
you're right.
majority of the time, it's diseased trees or overhanging branches.
It happened recently at the Darlington Street planning application. We did have some trees preserved, and it was of the tree officer whether it justified the preservation order being removed. So it's a bit of a worry actually, because there was nothing wrong with the trees. It's just whether it was appropriate to help along a planning application, and I was quite disappointed in that. So it is something to be aware of. It's not necessarily for it's actually could have been a condition of planning that they had to be removed to expedite planning. The layout of a housing development is really poor.
Thank you, Julia. I must presume that's probably Alan Whiskers that's made that decision, I would think, the tree officer. I don't know. Bill Whiskers, sorry, not Alan, Bill. Bill Whiskers, yeah. It'd probably be Bill, would it, Ruth?
I think so, yeah.
If you want us to look into that, we can, but I think it would probably be Bill that's made that decision, Julia.
Well, it didn't happen, so it was an issue at the time. So that's what I'm saying, just be very aware of things going on at planning level, that it has to be at the discretion of the tree officer.
Thank you, Julia. We're moving on. Items for future meetings. I mean, obviously these can be submitted at a later date, but if anybody's anything, Ian.
Yeah, I know that, and I realise that Chorley Council are now taking over running of the bus station or interchange. Is it possible to have some sort of strategic overview of how they plan to develop it and what we might expect to see from it?
Quite a reasonable one. Yeah, okay, Ruth. Yeah, we'll put that on, Ian. We'll try and get that in the next meeting, maybe, Ruth.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Aaron.
Thank you, Chair. I don't know if any other councillors received an email. I received one asking why the covenant on Runshaw College site on Southport Road was removed, and then the possibility of Astley Park School being relocated on there. And I get that it's not to do with us, but I just wonder if we could get some kind of information on how much rumour is in the truth that Astley School might consider moving. I don't know if that's for this committee. It's just a question.
Yeah. So you'll deal with that? Yeah. Ruth will have a where we are. Okay. Anything else from anybody? Right, we're down to urgent business previously agreed with the chair. I haven't got any, so I'm on a roll. I can do full council in 45 minutes and liaison in 25. Thank you very much for your attendance, and yeah, I mean, meetings take as long as they do. If there's something worth discussing, fair enough. Thank you, and thank you for your attendance and safe journey home.